reason to be, and this was obviously quite salty language, and your viewers can fill in those blanks pretty easily on the quote that you put up on the screen, but he was seriously angry, and it's not just Warren, it's Bernie Sanders too, but Warren is the one who is the real threat because she is now close to leading Biden in a lot of these national polls, and particularly in the state polls. And there is a lot of fear that she gets in, she puts on a wealth tax, she destroys private equity, she sends markets down, at least in Cooperman's view, 25%. That may be a little bit overblown, but that she would threaten the capitalist system as we know it, both in Wall Street and big tech and the lobbying industry. And now there is this sense of panic that she could win, she could get the nomination, she could then beat Donald Trump. What happens if she's in the White House?
It's interesting and a little bit ironic, I think, that in the 2016 election, the champion of the little guy,
right,
the dispossessed,
yep,
the overlooked, was a New York billionaire.
Yeah.
And in the 2020 election, it may be a person who is much more left-leaning,
yeah,
progressive,
right,
maybe even bordering on socialist.
Yeah, it is quite interesting that these are two very different profiles of the populist movement. And the question is it, if Elizabeth Warren emerges with the nomination, can she take her message of populism, championing the little guy, looking out for manufacturers and small businesses in the Midwest, and get people to believe that she's really for them and not, as Republicans will say, really just a traditional Massachusetts raise your taxes liberal?
I want to squeeze in one more question, then let you guys hop in. It is, to me, a little rich to hear billionaires bemoaning things.
Right.
And I wonder whether a lot of the disaffected, the dispossessed, are going, what are you complaining about?
100%. I mean,
what are you complaining about? Are you tone deaf, man?
Exactly. Are you tone deaf? Do you not have enough money already? Is it not the most terrible thing in the world if you lost, 10% of that, whatever the tax is? And this is the thing, and I point this out in the story. Every time she's attacked by a Leon Cooperman or anybody on Wall Street, she turns that into a tweet. She turns it into a campaign ad. It's good for her when Wall Street attacks her. I got a call after this story ran from one of the top executives on Wall Street who said to me, why won't these people just shut up? Don't say anything, because when you do, you give her 50,000 more votes.
Give her, it gives oxygen. Don't get me wrong. I am a capitalist, free enterprise, moderate, who believes that the riches that flow from capitalism shouldn't be opposed, actually.
Precisely. But the more you criticize her, the stronger she gets. So if your interest is don't raise Elizabeth Warren up, then just stay quiet and maybe give money to Biden.
Is there a sense that perhaps this is a ploy to get through the primaries, to be that breakthrough candidate that can actually be paired against Joe Biden, and that once she clinches a nomination, that she actually tones her message down a bit in order to appeal more to the Democrats, let's say, on Wall Street?
Right. I don't think it's a ploy that she's going to tone down when she gets the nomination. I think she's very smart. Her campaign advisors are very smart. They know that she will have to at least appear a little bit less scary to some people and say, as she has in the past, that I'm a capitalist in my bones. I'm a former Republican. I believe in markets. I believe in free enterprise, but stronger rules of the road, better regulators, not letting white-collar criminals get away with stuff. So there will be tweaks to the message. But the broader one that, it's the people versus the powerful, the middle class hasn't had a raise in several decades, all that stuff will stay. She's not going to tone it down.
It's interesting to me because there are still plenty of people out there who I think identify with the successful people because they want to emulate them in a way.
Right.
And the framing that Wall Street is scared of Warren or this, I mean, if Leon Cooperman is laying out what he thinks would happen to the country's wealth if we have someone who's a socialist in impulse as president, is sort of trying to explain the impact these policies would have. Now, it's inelegant, it's inartful. But does it mean they're scared? Cooperman would probably buy, the market at some discount with some very long-term horizon.
He did mention that he has plenty of ways that he could make money off of this if, in fact, she's elected and there's a big tank in the market and smart people will go short and make money off of it.
Right, but you know who else would lose his money? People who have 401ks.
Yeah, no, that's true.
This isn't Leon Cooperman scared he's going to lose 25% on the market. It's, hey, the value of equities of public companies in this country could drop by that amount. By the way, if private equity is so bad, why is CalPERS investing in them?
Right.
Why are they giving them more money?
Of public pension
why shouldn't Elizabeth Warren be saying to them, well, then why don't you pull every dime out of there? You know why? It's the only way they'll make their returns for the teachers and the firefighters of that state.
I think that'll be the response from Republicans and others if she gets the nomination. And I do think she has to walk a fine line here because resentment is not always a great way to get political support. Americans like the idea of, getting rich and doing well. They don't necessarily feel that, all people who have made it are bad. They want to make it themselves. So she cannot demonize wealth broadly or the idea of the American dream and be successful. She can, however, say the system has been largely rigged against people who have health care costs that are too high, who have student debt that is way too high, and that their jobs are not paying enough to pay that off. And she's actually better than I thought she was going to be at doing that. So if she were to get to a general election, still a big if, she could make the case that being rich isn't bad. Maybe being a super billionaire isn't great and is a policy failure. But I'm not against the American dream. I just think it should be more broadly accessible to people.
I take your point about resentment being a hard wave to ride. Yeah. But President Trump rode that wave for a long time.
He did.
And a lot of his core strength was and is, I observe, among those who have a lot of resentment about the way the system has not served them.
Right, which is a way in which there are some crossovers, strangely enough, between Elizabeth Warren and Donald Trump in terms of trying to tap into that. Now, they are as diametrically opposed human beings as you can get, but she can make the argument that I have the same feelings about the forgotten man and woman in this economy, but I'm not going to tweet 1,000 times a day and drive you crazy and do a trade war with China and make the markets crazy. I'm populist Donald Trump, but I'm not maybe Twitter, impeachment, all of this.
Let me ask your opinion on something. Sure. Is she, on a debate stage, the toughest, most formidable opponent Trump could face among the current Democrats?
I think that she probably is. I think Pete Buttigieg is somebody who is getting a second look from a lot of Democrats and is excellent, an excellent political athlete, really good in these debates. Joe Biden, as we've seen, not his forte on the debate stage, so I'm not sure that he would be. But she is really good at turning attacks back on people. She does all of her homework. She knows all of the facts. And when it comes to financial regulation and Wall Street and all the rest of it, she is deep in the weeds on a lot of this stuff, and she knows it. She knows the facts, and she can make the case and make the argument. And she tells a story about, her upbringing and her father and how hard scrabble it was. And that appeals to a lot of people. There are those who think, well, she's just too far left, crazy liberal. But on the debate stage against Trump, I think she could hold her own and do pretty well.